I shall first deal with the problem of education and employment under the role of the university. I believe that the present system of university education, both in its content and in its methods, does not give any special training for employment except for white-collar jobs. The number of white-collar jobs, especially of a non-professional or non-technical character, is limited. One has to make it clear to the university entering student community that the demand of white-collar employment is becoming less. They should not therefore waste their time and money in getting university education. Even white-collar jobs should be made more easily available to young men and women who have completed their secondary education. There should be a much greater change, of course, at the university and college levels, which should be employment-oriented character. Finally, university students must be given opportunity to do some practical work, manual or otherwise. When they finish their education, they will not just become seekers of jobs, but start new economic activities on their own. If these suggestions are carried out, the prospects of rising unemployment among graduates will diminish, if not disappear altogether. Meanwhile, of course, urgent steps are necessary for dealing with the backlog of the graduate unemployment. The second question on which I want to say a few words is the vexed problem of student unrest. This is not just an Indian phenomenon, but of the entire world. They find that our professions rarely coincide with our actual way of life and work. They find us out of date in our knowledge, ideas, and social attitudes. This is a conflict between generations where the young stand for participation in both decision making and implementation. Speeches on discipline are no solution. What is required is understanding on the part of the old of the desires and values of the young. It is only friendship and affection that can bring about enduring student discipline. More attention needs to be paid to the physical problems of student welfare and education, such as textbooks, libraries, and hostels. It is also necessary to provide more opportunities for student-teacher communications and dialogues. Finally, I would like to say something about academic standards. I know that our academic standards are undergoing changes because of increasing numbers, changes in the media of instruction, and inadequate educational facilities. Our teaching methods have to change with the lecture system by seminars and tutorials. More rapid progress has to be made in the production of high-quality textbooks. The examination system has to be reformed. The evaluation must find a place for internal assessment. Our graduates constitute the bulk of what we may call the elite in our society. And it is this elite class that has to inspire the masses of our people with the sentiments of a common nationality and a citizenship. They cannot do if they are themselves divided in their minds and hearts by caste, communal, religious, regional and linguistic barriers. Those in charge of our universities can do a great deal by instituting among their graduates a sense of Indian cultural unity and national integration. Similarly, it is at the university stage that we can cultivate the sentiments of respects for human dignity. I wish you all success, my young friends who have graduated from this university in your future career. Dear Sir, I wish to make a few suggestions regarding examination reforms which, if adopted, will rectify the present defects and malpractices in examinations. The students shall be allowed to bring into the examination hall as many books as they desire. They must be allowed to go through their books while they prepare their essays in answering the questions. The questions have to be set in such a way which will give them a clear picture of the understanding capacity of the examinee in the subject. As far as possible, there shall be no direct questions. Under any circumstances, we must try to find out the real merit of the students. Such of those candidates who merely get the notes by heart and those who cannot write original essays are automatically eliminated as a result of the present system. Only those who are actually teaching the subject shall be appointed as examiners, inasmuch as they will be quite thorough with the subject. The scripts after valuation should be handed over back to the students so as to enable them to know their own mistakes. After this is done, the candidates should undergo an oral test by a committee consisting of internal as well as external examiners. In view of the fact that there is growing unrest among the present-day student community, the above suggestions may be considered. I request you to acknowledge the receipt of this letter. Yours faithfully.